For nearly 2,000 years, they were hidden in darkness. Not in a palace,
not in a royal library, not beneath the ruins of a great temple, but in caves, dry, silent caves near the Dead Sea, wrapped in linen, stored in clay jars, broken into thousands of fragments,
waiting. Then, in the 20th century, a discovery was made that would change the study of the Bible forever.
Ancient scrolls, biblical manuscripts, prayers, rules, prophecies, apocalyptic visions, texts that had not been seen for almost 2 millennia. They became known as the Dead Sea Scrolls.
For almost 2 millennia. They became known as the Dead Sea Scrolls.
For some, they were the greatest archaeological discovery of the
20th century.
For others, they were a doorway into a forgotten world.
A world of scribes, priests,
wilderness communities,
hidden
messianic,
books, and ancient interpretations of Scripture.
But the Dead Sea
Scrolls also created questions. Who wrote
But the Dead Sea Scrolls also created questions.
Why were they hidden?
Who wrote them?
Did they belong to a mysterious desert community?
Did they belong to a mysterious desert community?
To protect them from
war? Were they placed in the caves to protect them from war?
What secrets do they reveal about the Bible?
What secrets do they reveal about the Bible?
And did they change what we thought we knew about Judaism, Christianity, and the world of Jesus? Tonight, we are going into the caves of Qumran. Not to chase conspiracy
we are going into the
theories.
Caves of Qumran.
Not to claim the Bible was secretly rewritten.
Not to claim the Bible
but to understand why these
rewritten.
Fragile pieces of parchment still carry such power. Because sometimes the greatest secrets are not hidden because someone wanted to deceive the world.
Such power.
Sometimes they are hidden because
sometimes
history
the greatest
itself
secrets are not
collapsed
hidden
around them.
Because someone
the
wanted to deceive the world.
Near the Dead Sea.
Sometimes
the
they are hidden
landscape
because
is
history
harsh.
itself collapsed around them.
Dry cliffs rise
The story
above the
begins
desert.
near the Dead Sea.
The sun burns against pale
The landscape
stone.
is harsh.
The air is heavy with
Dry
salt.
cliffs rise above the
The
desert.
water below is so dense that
The
almost
sun
nothing
burns against
lives in
pale stone.
it. It is a
The
place
air is
of
heavy
silence.
with salt.
A place that feels
The water
outside
below is so
ordinary
dense
time.
that almost nothing lives in
Somewhere among those cliffs,
It is a place of
ancient
silence.
hands once
it. A
placed
place that
scrolls
feels
into
outside
caves.
ordinary time.
Centuries passed. Empires rose and fell.
Jerusalem
was destroyed.
Jerusalem was destroyed.
Rome
changed the world.
Kingdoms came
and disappeared.
Languages
shifted. Religions spread. The scrolls remained.
Then, in the late 1940s, Bedouin shepherds entered one of the caves near Qumran.
In the late 1940s,
the traditional story
Bedouin
says they were
entered one of the
searching for a
caves near
lost
Qumran.
animal. A stone was
The traditional
thrown
story
into a
says they
cave.
were searching for a lost
Instead
animal.
of silence,
A stone
there was the
was thrown
sound
into a
of
cave.
pottery breaking.
Instead of silence,
Inside
there
were
was the sound of
jars.
pottery breaking.
And inside some of those jars were
jars.
scrolls.
And
It
inside
is
some
one
of those jars
moments in
were
history
scrolls.
that feels almost too simple. No army, no
It
excavation
is one of those
team,
moments in history
no
that feels
royal
almost too
expedition.
simple.
Just a cave,
No army, no
a
excavation
thrown
team,
stone,
no
a
royal
broken
expedition,
jar,
just a cave,
and a discovery
a
that had
thrown
been
stone,
waiting for 2,000
a broken
years.
jar,
At first,
and a discovery
no one
that had been
fully
waiting for
understood the
2,000
importance of what
years.
had been found.
At
The
first,
scrolls
no one
passed
fully
through
understood the
hands.
importance of what had been found.
Some were sold.
The scrolls passed
Some
through
were
hands.
studied.
Some were
Scholars
sold.
began to realize that
Some
these
were
were
studied.
not ordinary old documents. They were ancient Jewish manuscripts from
Scholars
the Second
began to
Temple
realize
period.
that these were not
Some
ordinary
were
old
biblical
documents.
texts.
They
Some
were ancient Jewish manuscripts
interpretations.
from the Second Temple period.
Some were community rules.
Some were biblical texts.
Some were prayers
Some were
and
interpretations.
hymns. Some were
community
apocalyptic
rules.
writings
Some were
filled
prayers
with
and
war,
hymns.
judgment, angels, darkness, light, and the hope that God would soon intervene in history. Eventually,
And the hope
more
that
caves
God
were
would soon
searched.
intervene in history.
More scrolls and fragments were found. The
Eventually,
discovery grew
more
from a
caves were
single
searched.
cave into an entire
More scrolls and
manuscript
fragments
world.
were found.
And the name
The
Qumran
discovery
became
grew from a single
inseparable
cave
from the mystery.
into an entire manuscript
But what
world.
exactly are the Dead Sea Scrolls?
And the name Qumran became
They are
inseparable
not
from the
one
mystery.
book.
But
They
what
are
exactly
not
are
one
the Dead Sea
scroll.
Scrolls?
They are not a
They are
secret
not one
Bible.
book.
They
They are
a
not one
library.
scroll.
A
They are
scattered,
not a secret
damaged,
Bible.
ancient library.
They are a library.
Some texts are copies
scattered,
of books that
damaged,
later became
ancient
part of
library.
the Hebrew Bible.
Some
Genesis.
texts are copies of books that later became part of the Hebrew Bible.
Exodus,
Genesis,
Deuteronomy, Isaiah,
and many others.
Psalms,
Other texts are not
and
biblical
many
books.
others.
but they reveal how
Other
ancient
texts are
Jewish
not
communities
biblical
read,
books,
interpreted,
but they reveal
prayed,
how ancient
argued, and
Jewish
waited for God.
communities read,
There are rules for a
interpreted,
community,
prayed,
commentaries on
argued,
prophets,
and waited for God.
songs of thanksgiving,
There are rules for a community,
calendrical texts,
commentaries
legal
on prophets,
writings, apocalyptic
songs
visions,
of thanksgiving,
war texts,
calendrical
wisdom
texts,
and works
legal
connected
writings,
to traditions like Enoch and
apocalyptic
Jubilees.
visions,
This is what
war
makes the
texts,
scrolls so important.
wisdom texts.
They do not only give us ancient
and
biblical
works
manuscripts,
connected to traditions
they give us a
like
window
Enoch
into the
and
world around the
Jubilees.
Bible.
This
The
is
world
what
between
makes
the
the
Old Testament
scrolls so
and the New
important.
Testament. A world
They do not
often
only
called
give us
Second
ancient
Temple
biblical
Judaism.
manuscripts. They give us a
A
window
world
into the
filled
world
with
around
expectation.
the Bible. The world between
a world
the Old
under
Testament
pressure.
and
A world
the New
where
Testament.
many Jewish groups were asking
A world
urgent
often
questions.
called Second Temple
Who are the
Judaism.
true people of God?
A world filled with
Has
expectation.
the priesthood become corrupt?
A world under pressure.
When will God
A
judge
world
evil?
where many Jewish groups were asking
How
urgent
should Scripture be
questions.
interpreted?
Who are
Is the
the
end
true
of the age
people
near?
of God?
Will a Messiah
Has
come?
the priesthood become
Will there be
corrupt?
one Messiah?
When
or
will
more than
God
one?
judge evil? How should Scripture be interpreted? Is the end
What
of
does it
the
mean
age
to
near?
live faithfully
Will
when
a
the world
Messiah
feels
come?
ruled by darkness?
Will there be one Messiah or more than one?
The Dead Sea
What
Scrolls
does it
do not
mean to
answer these
live
questions
faithfully
in one
when the
simple
world
voice,
feels ruled by
but they
darkness?
show us that these questions were alive,
The Dead Sea Scrolls
burning,
do not answer these
debated,
questions in one
copied
simple
by hand,
voice,
hidden in caves,
but they show us that these
preserved
questions
by
were
desert
alive,
dryness,
burning,
and carried into our
debated,
time.
copied by hand,
One of the most famous
hidden in
scrolls
caves,
is the Great Isaiah Scroll.
preserved by desert dryness.
It is extraordinary
carried into
because
our
it
time.
preserves almost the
One
entire
of the
book of
most
Isaiah
famous
in Hebrew.
scrolls is the Great Isaiah Scroll.
Before the Dead Sea Scrolls,
It is extraordinary
the oldest
because
complete
it
Hebrew
preserves
manuscripts
almost the entire book of Isaiah in Hebrew.
of the Bible
Before
came from
the
much
Dead
later
Sea
medieval
Scrolls,
copies.
the oldest complete Hebrew manuscripts of the Bible came from
The
much
Great
later
Isaiah
medieval
Scroll suddenly
copies.
pushed the evidence for
The
biblical
Great
text
Isaiah
far back
Scroll
into the
suddenly
ancient
pushed
world.
the evidence for biblical text far back into
Imagine
the ancient
what that
world.
meant.
Imagine what that meant. For centuries, people had read Isaiah through manuscripts copied long after the time of Jesus. Then suddenly, a scroll of Isaiah appeared from more than 2,000
years ago.
Columns of ancient Hebrew,
written by human hands, preserved in a cave.
A voice from the world before the New Testament.
Before the
For
New
many
Testament.
people, this became the emotional center of the Dead
For
Sea
many people,
Scrolls.
this became the emotional center of the Dead Sea
every
Scrolls.
question. Not because every word was
Not because it
identical
solved
to
every
later
question.
manuscripts.
Not because every word
But
was
because it
identical
showed
to later
that the biblical
manuscripts,
text
but because
had
it
a
showed that the
deep
biblical
ancient
text
history.
had a deep ancient
It
history.
showed scribes copying scripture with care.
It showed scribes copying
It
scripture
showed
with
that the
care.
book of Isaiah was being read, preserved, and cherished long before the medieval manuscripts
It showed that the
we
book of
once
Isaiah
depended
was
on.
being read
But the scrolls
preserved,
also showed something
and
else.
cherished long before
The
the medieval
biblical text
manuscripts
in
we
ancient
once depended
Judaism
on.
was not always copied in only one uniform form.
But the
Some
scrolls
manuscripts
also
are
showed
very
something
close
else.
to later traditional Hebrew texts.
The biblical
Others show
text in ancient
variations.
Judaism was not always
Some
copied
align
in
more
only one
closely with
uniform
the ancient
form.
Greek translation
Some
known as the
manuscripts are very close
Septuagint.
to later traditional Hebrew
Some
texts.
reflect forms of
Others
texts
show
that help
variations.
scholars understand how
Some
the
align
Bible
more
was
closely with the
transmitted.
ancient Greek translation
For some people,
known as the
this
Septuagint.
sounds frightening.
Some
They
reflect
hear the
forms of
word
texts
variation
that help scholars
and think it
understand
means
how the Bible was transmitted.
collapsed. But that is not what the scrolls show.
For some people,
What they
this
show
sounds
is more
frightening.
human and perhaps more fascinating. Scripture was
They hear the
copied
word
by
variation
scribes
and think it means the Bible collapsed.
carefully,
But that is not what the
reverently,
scrolls show.
but
What they
by
show is
hand,
more human and perhaps
across
more
centuries,
fascinating. Scripture
in
was copied
different
by scribes,
communities,
carefully,
with different textual
reverently,
traditions.
but by
The
hand.
Dead Sea Scrolls allow
across
scholars
centuries,
to see that process
different
more
communities,
clearly. They
with
do
different
not
textual
destroy the
traditions.
Bible. They show the ancient life
The
of the
Dead Sea
Bible,
Scrolls allow scholars to
a
see that
living
process more
textual
clearly.
world.
They do
A
not
world
destroy
where
the Bible.
sacred words were
They show the
copied,
ancient life
studied,
of the Bible.
interpreted, and preserved
A living
with devotion.
textual world.
That is why the scrolls matter
A world
so
where sacred
deeply.
words were copied,
They
studied,
bring us closer to the
interpreted,
scribes,
and preserved with devotion.
not just the text in the abstract,
That is why the
but the
scrolls matter
people
so
who
deeply.
held the pen,
They bring us closer
the
to the
people who
scribes,
mixed ink,
not just the
cut
text in the
parchment,
abstract,
prepared
but the people who
skins,
held the pen,
sat by
the people who
lamplight,
mixed ink,
copied
cut
line
parchment,
after line,
prepared skins,
believed that
sat
these
by
words
lamplight,
mattered enough to preserve,
copied line after line,
and
believed
perhaps,
that these
when
words
danger
mattered
came,
enough to
believed
preserve.
they mattered enough to hide. That brings us to one
And
of the
perhaps,
biggest mysteries.
when danger came, believed
owned
they
the
mattered enough
scrolls?
to hide.
For a long time, many
That brings us
scholars
to one of the
connected the
biggest
scrolls
mysteries.
to the Essenes,
Who owned
a
the
Jewish
scrolls?
group described by ancient writers as living with strict
For a
discipline,
long time,
ritual
many scholars
purity,
connected the scrolls to the
shared
Essenes,
property,
a
and
Jewish group
separation
described
from
by
corrupt
ancient
society.
writers as living with strict discipline,
Near
ritual
the
purity,
caves are
shared
the
property,
ruins of
and separation from
Qumran.
corrupt society.
The site contains buildings, water installations,
Near the caves
pottery,
are the ruins of
rooms, and
Qumran.
evidence that has been interpreted in
The
different
site
ways.
contains buildings,
Some see
water
it as the home
installations,
of a
pottery,
sectarian
rooms,
community,
and
a group that withdrew
evidence that has
into
been
the
interpreted in
wilderness.
different ways.
Copied scrolls.
Some see it as the home of a
practiced
sectarian
purity
community,
rituals,
a group that withdrew
waited
into
for
the wilderness,
and saw
copied
themselves
scrolls,
as the true Israel
practiced
in a
purity
corrupt
rituals,
age.
waited for the end,
In that view,
and saw
the
themselves
scrolls were
as the
their
true
library.
Israel in a corrupt
Hidden
age.
when Roman forces approached
In
during
that
the
view,
Jewish revolt.
the scrolls were their library,
But not everyone
hidden
agrees.
when Roman forces approached
Some
during the Jewish
scholars
revolt.
argue that the scrolls may have
But not
come
everyone
from
agrees.
Jerusalem or other places. Perhaps they were libraries hidden for protection during
Some
the
scholars
chaos
argue
of
that the
war.
scrolls may have come from
Perhaps
Jerusalem
Qumran
or
was
other
not
places.
simply a monastery-like community.
Perhaps they were libraries
Perhaps it
hidden
was
for
a
protection
settlement,
during the
a
chaos
fortress,
of war.
an estate, or something more complicated.
Perhaps
The
Qumran
debate
was not simply a
continues.
monastery-like
And
community.
that is important. The Dead Sea Scrolls are not a solved
Perhaps it was a
puzzle.
settlement, a fortress,
They are a field
an
of
estate,
study still
or something
alive
more
with
complicated.
argument.
The
But
debate
whether the
continues,
scrolls belong to a
and that is
Qumran
important.
sect, a wider
The Dead Sea
Jewish
Scrolls
movement,
are not
or
a solved
refugees
puzzle.
protecting
They are a
sacred
field of
texts,
study, still
one thing is
alive
clear.
with argument.
They came from a world under pressure. A world
But whether
where
the
Rome
scrolls
was
belong to a
rising.
Qumran sect,
A world
wider
where many Jewish people were divided over priesthood,
Jewish movement,
purity,
or refugees
temple
protecting
authority,
sacred texts,
calendar,
one
law,
thing is clear.
and the meaning
They came
of the
from a
last
world under
days.
pressure. A
This
world
is why
where
some
Rome was
scrolls
rising.
feel so intense.
A world where many Jewish people were
They
divided
speak of
over
the sons
priesthood,
of light
purity,
and the
temple
sons of
authority,
darkness.
calendar, law,
They imagine
and the
a
meaning of
final
the last
war.
days.
They speak of judgment. They speak
This is
of
why some
angels.
scrolls feel so intense.
They speak of
They
wicked
speak of the sons of
priests.
light and the sons of
They
darkness.
speak of a community waiting for
They imagine
God
a
to
final
act.
war.
When
They speak
modern
of
people
judgment.
read them, the
They speak
language
of
can feel
angels.
extreme.
They speak
But
of
we
wicked
must
priests.
remember the world they came from.
They speak of a community
a small
waiting
people
for God
under
to act.
imperial shadow.
When modern people read
A
them,
temple
the
system
language can
many
feel
believed
extreme.
had become compromised.
But we must remember the world they
Foreign
came from.
powers shaping
A
the
small
land.
people under imperial
Political
shadow.
violence.
A temple system many
Religious
believed
longing.
had become compromised.
Hope and fear
Foreign
intertwined.
powers shaping the land.
In such a world,
Political violence.
apocalyptic imagination
Religious
grows.
longing.
People
Hope
begin
and
to
fear
ask,
intertwined.
what if history
In
is
such a
not
world,
random?
apocalyptic
What
imagination
if the world
grows.
is divided between light and
People
darkness?
begin to ask,
What if
what if
God has a
history is
hidden
not random?
timetable? What if the present suffering
what if the world is
not the
divided
end?
between light and
This
darkness?
is the atmosphere of
What
many
if God
Dead
has a
Sea
hidden
Scrolls.
timetable?
And it
What if
helps
the
us
present suffering
understand
is
the
not the
world
end?
into which early Christianity
This is the
was
atmosphere
born.
of many Dead Sea
The scrolls do not
And it helps us
mention
understand
Jesus.
the world into which early
They do
Christianity
not tell
was
the
born.
story of the apostles.
The scrolls do not mention
They
Jesus.
do not secretly contain
They do not tell
New
the story of the
Testament,
apostles.
but they show us
They
the
do not
soil,
secretly contain the
the
New Testament.
language,
But they show us
the
the soil,
expectations,
the language,
the questions.
the expectations.
They show us that
The
ideas
questions.
like covenant,
They show us that ideas like
purification,
covenant,
wilderness
purification,
community,
wilderness
messianic
community,
expectation,
messianic
final
expectation,
judgment,
final
angels,
judgment,
darkness, and
angels,
light,
darkness
and
and light,
interpretation of
and interpretation of
prophecy were
prophecy
already part
were
of the
already
world
part
of
of
some Jewish groups
The world of
before
some
and
Jewish
around
groups
the time
before
of Jesus.
and around the time of Jesus.
That does not mean Christianity simply copied Qumran.
That does not mean
It
Christianity
means
simply
early
copied Qumran.
Christianity emerged in a world where many of its questions were
It
already
means
being
early
asked.
Christianity emerged in a world
Who
where
is the
many of its
true
questions were
community of
already
God?
being asked.
What does Isaiah
Who
mean?
is the true community of God?
What is the role of the
What does
wilderness?
Isaiah mean?
What
What
does
is
it
the role
mean
of the
to
wilderness?
prepare the way of the Lord?
What does it mean to prepare
Is
the way of the
judgment
Lord?
near? What does faithfulness
judgment
look
near?
like before the end? The Dead Sea Scrolls
What
help
does
us hear those
faithfulness look
questions
like
in their
before the
ancient
end?
accent. This is one of their
The Dead
greatest
Sea Scrolls
gifts.
help us hear those
They
questions in their
restore the
ancient
Jewish
accent.
world of the first
This
century.
is one of their greatest gifts.
They remind modern readers
that the Bible did not appear in a vacuum. It belonged to real
It
people,
belonged to real people,
in real places,
in real places,
with real fears,
with real fears,
real hopes,
real hopes,
real conflicts,
real conflicts,
and real scrolls
and
in
real
their hands.
scrolls in their hands. But the Dead Sea Scrolls
But the Dead Sea Scrolls also contain texts that feel mysterious in a different way.
The War Scroll describes a cosmic
The
battle
War Scroll
between the
describes a
forces of
cosmic
light
battle
and darkness.
between the forces of light
The
and
Community
darkness.
Rule describes the discipline,
Community Rule describes
identity,
the discipline,
and organization
identity,
of a
and
strict
organization of a
religious
strict
group.
religious group.
The Thanksgiving hymns
The
sound
Thanksgiving
like
hymns sound like personal prayers of suffering, rescue, and divine mystery.
The Pesher
The Pesher commentaries interpret biblical prophets as speaking directly to the community's own time.
The temple scroll presents a vision of temple law and sacred order. And the copper scroll is unlike almost anything else. Instead of parchment, it was written on copper.
And rather than prayers or biblical commentary, it lists locations of hidden treasure. Silver,
gold,
vessels, possible temple wealth, or perhaps something symbolic.
The
copper scroll is one of the strangest objects in the entire collection.
Copper scroll is one of the strangest objects in the entire collection.
Was it connected to the Jerusalem temple?
Was it a real treasure map?
Were the treasures ever
found? Was it connected to the Jerusalem temple? Were the treasures ever found? Were they imaginary?
No one knows with certainty.
Were they already taken? No one knows with certainty.
Gives the copper scroll a special place in the imagination.
The copper scroll a special
but even
place
here,
in the imagination.
We must be careful.
But
the Dead Sea Scrolls are not valuable because they lead us to buried gold.
The Dead Sea Scrolls
are valuable because they show us a buried world.
A
world of belief.
They are valuable because they show us a buried world.
Text.
A world of belief.
And hope.
Discipline. Conflict. Text.
Another reason the scrolls matter is their connection to books that many modern readers barely know.
These
writings were important to some Jewish communities, even though they did.
Works like Enoch and Jubilees appear among the manuscript
part of the Bible
finds.
For most Jewish and Christian
traditions.
These
writings were important to some Jewish communities, even though they did not become part of the Bible for most Jewish and Christian traditions. This matters because it helps explain subjects like the Watchers,
ancient calendars,
heavenly
and the interpretation of
ancient
Genesis.
calendars, and the interpretation of Genesis.
When we studied the Watchers,
we
saw that Genesis gives only a few mysterious verses. The Dead Sea Scrolls show that Enochic traditions were not fringe modern fantasies.
The Dead Sea Scrolls show that Enochic traditions were not fringe modern fantasies. They were being copied and preserved in ancient Jewish circles.
That does not mean every Enochic idea should be treated as biblical doctrine. But it does mean those ideas were part of the religious imagination of the time.
Those ideas were part of the religious imagination of the time.
The scrolls do not flatten ancient Judaism into one simple belief system.
They reveal diversity.
They reveal diversity.
Different emphasis.
Different texts.
Different interpretations.
Different emphases.
Different expectations.
Different interpretations.
And that may be one of the most important lessons.
And that may be one of the
world of the Bible was not simple. It was alive.
The world of the Bible was not simple. It was alive.
Scribes preserved more than one kind of writing.
Scribes preserved more than one kind of writing. Communities argued about holiness,
let us overhear that
time,
world.
Temple, priesthood,
but why
and
were
the
they
future.
hidden?
The Dead Sea Scrolls
in the first century,
let us
the Jewish
overhear
revolt
that
against
world.
Rome brought devastation.
Why were they hidden?
Jerusalem would fall.
This is the question that gives the discovery its haunting power.
Communities
Perhaps
would be
the
shattered.
answer is war. In the first century, the Jewish revolt against Rome brought devastation. Jerusalem would fall.
May have hidden their library in
the
nearby
temple
caves
would be
to protect
destroyed.
it. They may have
Communities would be
believed they
shattered.
would return.
If the people connected with the scrolls
They may
knew
have thought the
danger was
crisis
coming,
would pass.
they may have hidden their library in nearby caves
They may
to
have placed
protect
the
it.
scrolls in jars,
They may have
sealed them,
believed
and trusted
they would
the desert
return.
to keep them safe.
They may have thought the crisis would
But they
pass.
never came back.
They may have
Or if they
placed the
did,
scrolls in
they
jars,
could not recover them.
sealed them, and trusted the desert to keep
The
them
caves
safe.
became tombs of
They
memory.
never came back.
The jars
Or if
became
they
time
did,
capsules.
They could not recover them.
The scrolls
The
became
caves
witnesses.
became tombs of memory.
There is something deeply
The
moving
jars
about that
became
possibility.
time capsules.
Imagine
The
a scribe
scrolls
holding a
became
scroll
witnesses.
for the last time.
There is something
A text
deeply moving
copied with
about
care.
that possibility.
A book read in worship.
Imagine a
rule of
scribe
life.
holding a scroll
A
for the
prophecy.
last time.
A hymn.
A text
fragment of
copied
Isaiah.
with care. A book read in worship. A rule of life. A prophecy.
He does not know that nearly
A hymn.
2,000 years will pass
fragment
before
of
another human
Isaiah.
being sees it again.
He does not know that nearly 2,000 years will pass before another human being sees it again. He only knows that
In
danger
hope.
is near. So he hides
That
it.
is what makes the Dead Sea Scrolls more than
in
artifacts.
darkness. In hope.
They are acts of
That
preservation,
is what makes the Dead
Acts of
Sea
fear.
Scrolls more than artifacts.
acts of faith. Someone
They are
believed
acts
these
of
words should
preservation.
survive, and
Acts
they
of
did.
fear.
but their
Acts of
survival was
faith.
fragile.
Someone
Many
believed
scrolls
these
were
words
already
should
damaged
survive,
when found.
and they did.
Some were broken into
but their
tiny
survival
fragments.
was fragile.
Some were blackened.
Many scrolls were
Some
already
were incomplete.
damaged when found. Some were broken into tiny fragments.
Some had to be pieced
Some
together
were blackened.
like impossible puzzles.
Some were incomplete. Some
A
had
single
to be
fragment
pieced
might contain
together
only a
like
few letters,
impossible puzzles.
a few words.
A single fragment
torn
might
edge,
contain
a
only
clue.
a few letters,
Scholars had to
a
compare
few
handwriting,
words,
material,
a torn edge,
language,
a clue.
line spacing,
Scholars had to compare
ink,
handwriting,
parchment,
material,
content,
language,
Sometimes fragments were misidentified.
ink,
Sometimes they were reclassified.
parchment, content.
The work has taken decades.
Sometimes fragments were
And it continues.
misidentified.
Modern
Sometimes
technology
they
has
were
opened new doors.
reclassified. The work has taken decades.
High-resolution imaging
And
can
it
reveal
continues.
writing invisible to the naked
Modern
eye.
technology has opened new doors.
Multispectral photography can distinguish
High-resolution
ink
imaging
from
can
parchment.
reveal writing invisible to the naked eye.
Digital databases allow
Multispectral
fragments to be
photography
compared
can
in new
distinguish
ways.
ink from parchment. Digital databases allow fragments to be compared
Artificial
in new
intelligence
ways.
is now being explored as a tool
Artificial
for
intelligence is now being explored
analyzing
as a
handwriting,
tool for
identifying
analyzing
scribal
handwriting,
patterns, and assisting with
identifying
dating.
scribal patterns, and assisting with dating.
But
But
technology does not
technology
remove
does
the need
not
for human
remove the
judgment.
need for human
The
judgment.
scrolls still require
The
patience,
scrolls still require
language expertise,
patience, language expertise,
historical context.
historical
humility.
context.
A machine may
Humility.
see patterns,
A machine
but
may see
interpretation
patterns,
still demands wisdom.
but interpretation still demands wisdom. In that
sense, the study of the Dead Sea Scrolls is itself a
a lesson.
Ancient texts do not surrender their secrets quickly. They must be approached with care,
They must be approached with care.
one fragment at a time,
One fragment
one
at
letter
a time.
at a time,
One letter
one
at a
question
time.
at a time.
One question
And sometimes
at a time.
the answer
And
remains uncertain.
sometimes the answer remains
That
uncertain.
uncertainty is not a weakness.
That uncertainty is not
It
a
is
weakness.
part of honest history.
It is part of honest history. The Dead Sea Scrolls
The Dead Sea
changed
Scrolls
biblical
changed
studies,
biblical studies,
not because they answered everything,
but because they made the questions better. They forced scholars to
They forced
rethink the
scholars
history
to
of the biblical
rethink the
text.
history of the biblical text. They illuminated the diversity of Second Temple Judaism. They gave context to apocalyptic language.
They showed how Scripture
was interpreted before the rise of Rabbinic Judaism and Christianity as we know them.
They reminded the
They
world
reminded the world
that the Bible
came
came
through scribes, communities, memory,
Through
conflict,
scribes, communities,
preservation,
memory,
and faith.
conflict,
But
preservation,
what about the claim
and
that
faith?
the scrolls contain secrets hidden
There were
from the
delays and
public?
controversies in
There
publication.
were delays and
Some scholars had
controversies in
access before
publication.
others,
Some scholars
This
had
created
access
suspicion.
before others,
and suspicion
This created
often becomes
suspicion.
conspiracy.
and suspicion often becomes conspiracy.
But the greatest secrets of the Dead
But
Sea
the greatest
Scrolls are
secrets
not
of the
the kind
Dead Sea
found in
Scrolls
thrillers.
are not the kind found in thrillers.
They do not reveal that everything was
They
fake.
do not reveal that everything
They do not
was
unveil
fake.
a completely different
They
Jesus.
do not unveil a
They
completely
do not
different
erase
Jesus.
Judaism or Christianity.
They do not erase
Their real secret
Judaism
is
or
more powerful.
Christianity. Their
They
real
show that the
secret
ancient
is more
world was
powerful.
richer than modern people
They
imagined.
show that the ancient world was richer than
They
modern
show that
people
Scripture was
imagined.
loved, copied,
They show
and
that
interpreted
Scripture was
in
loved,
many ways.
copied, and interpreted in many
They
ways.
show that communities in the wilderness
They show that
believed they were
communities
living
in
at
the
the edge of
wilderness
the end.
believed they were living at the edge of the end.
They show that the
They show
Bible's
that the
world was
Bible's
filled
world
with
was filled with longing for purification, justice, covenant,
longing for
and
purification,
divine intervention.
justice, covenant, and
They
divine
show that
intervention.
history is not flat.
They show that history is
It
not
is
flat.
layered.
It is
And
layered.
sometimes the layers
survive in caves.
The Dead Sea Scrolls are also humbling because they remind us
The
how
Dead
much
Sea
has been
Scrolls are
lost.
also humbling
If these
because they
scrolls
remind us how
survived
much
by
has been
chance,
lost.
how many did not?
If these scrolls
How
survived
many
by chance,
libraries burned?
how many did not?
How many
How
manuscripts
many libraries
decayed?
burned?
How many voices
manuscripts
vanished?
decayed? How
How
many
many
voices vanished?
interpretations were never
How many
copied?
interpretations were never
How many
copied?
prayers turned to dust?
How many prayers turned to dust?
Ancient history is not a complete
Ancient history
archive.
is not a complete archive.
It is a ruin.
It is a ruin.
And every discovery is a crack of light through that ruin. The scrolls are one of the brightest cracks of light we have. But they also remind us of the darkness around them.
This is why the caves matter. They are not just
They are
storage
not just
spaces.
storage spaces.
They are symbols.
They are symbols.
A cave is a place of
A
hiding,
cave is a place of
a place of
hiding.
protection,
A place of
a place of
protection.
burial, a place
of
where the past
burial.
waits.
A place
When the
where
scrolls
past
came out of the
waits.
caves, the
When the
ancient world
scrolls
spoke
came
again.
out of the caves,
Not loudly,
the ancient world
not clearly
spoke
at first,
again.
but in
Not
fragments.
loudly,
A line
not
of Isaiah,
clearly at first,
rule for a community,
but in fragments.
a hymn of thanksgiving,
A line of
a
Isaiah.
war between light and
rule
darkness,
for a community.
a list of hidden
A
treasure,
hymn of thanksgiving.
a commentary on
A
prophecy,
war between light
a piece of
and
Enoch,
darkness.
a broken manuscript
list
of a
of
book
hidden
we thought we
treasure.
knew.
A
And together,
commentary on
these
prophecy.
fragments changed
A
everything,
piece of Enoch.
not by destroying
A
faith,
broken manuscript of a book
but by
we thought we
deepening the
knew.
story.
And together, these fragments changed everything.
The Dead Sea Scrolls
Not
invite
by
us to
destroying
imagine the Bible
faith,
not as
but by deepening the
a book
story.
floating above
The
history,
Dead Sea
but as sacred
Scrolls invite
text
us to
moving through
imagine the
history,
Bible not as a book
copied by
floating
hands,
above history,
held by
but as
communities,
sacred text moving through
debated in
history,
crisis,
copied by
hidden
hands,
from enemies,
held by
preserved by
communities,
accident and providence,
debated in crisis,
rediscovered in modern
hidden from
times.
enemies, preserved
studied
by
under
accident
lights,
and providence,
digitized for the world,
rediscovered in modern
still
times,
mysterious,
studied under light,
still fragile,
digitized for the
still
world,
speaking.
still mysterious, still fragile.
Perhaps that is
Still
why they
speaking.
continue to fascinate believers
Perhaps that
and
is
skeptics
why they
alike.
continue to fascinate
Believers see in
and
them a
skeptics
powerful
alike.
witness to the antiquity of
Believers
Scripture.
see in them a powerful witness to the antiquity of Scripture.
Skeptics
Skeptics
see in them evidence of a complex, human, developing textual world. Historians see a rare archive from a critical period.
Archaeologists see questions about Qumran, caves, and communities. Everyone sees something.
Everyone sees something.
Because the scrolls stand at the intersection of faith and history. They do not belong to only one group. They belong to the memory of humanity. But the most important question may not be what secrets they hide. The more important question may be what they reveal about us. Why are we so drawn to ancient fragments? Why does a torn piece of parchment move us? Why does a torn piece of parchment move us? Still capture the imagination of the world? Why does a cave in the desert still capture the imagination of the world? Our words
Maybe
fade.
because we know our own
Our
lives are
buildings
fragile.
fall.
Our words
Our
fade.
civilizations change.
Our buildings fall.
But sometimes
Our civilizations change.
something survives.
But sometimes
A sentence.
something survives.
A prayer.
A sentence.
A prophecy.
A prayer.
A hope. And when
A
it
prophecy.
does, it reaches across
A hope.
time and touches us.
And when it
The
does,
Dead Sea
it
Scrolls
reaches
are
across
voices
time
from a vanished world.
and touches us.
They do not answer every mystery.
The Dead Sea Scrolls are voices
create
from a
new
vanished
ones.
world.
Who
They do not answer
exactly
every
hid them?
mystery. They create
Why
new
were
ones.
certain books copied more
Who
than
exactly
others?
hid them?
How did this community understand itself?
Why were certain
What
books
did they
copied more
expect
than
God
others?
to do?
How did this
How did their
community understand
texts shape
itself?
the religious world that
What did they
followed?
expect God to do?
What has still not been
How did their
fully
texts
understood?
shape the religious world that
The
followed?
caves remain silent.
What has still
The
not been
fragments
fully
remain
understood?
incomplete. The
The
debates
caves remain
continue.
silent.
But perhaps
The
the
fragments
greatest truth of
remain
the Dead Sea
incomplete.
Scrolls is simple.
The debates
Words
continue.
matter. People preserved them
But
because they
perhaps
mattered.
the greatest truth of the Dead Sea
People
Scrolls
copied them
is
because
simple.
they mattered.
Words
People hid
matter.
them because they mattered.
People preserved
And
them because they
2,000 years
mattered.
later, we still
People
study
copied
them
them because they mattered.
matter. In
People
the
hid them
end,
because
the
they
Dead
mattered.
Sea Scrolls are not
And
just
2,000 years
ancient
later,
documents.
we still study them
They are
because
a
they matter.
bridge.
In the end,
Between the Hebrew
Dead Sea
Bible
Scrolls are
and
not
the
just
world of
ancient
the New
documents.
Testament.
They are a
Between
bridge
ancient Judaism
between the
and
Hebrew
later
Bible
religious
and the
history.
world of the New Testament.
Between faith
Between ancient
and
Judaism
scholarship.
and later religious
Between
history.
parchment
Between
and
faith
digital light.
and scholarship.
Between voices
parchment
buried in
and
caves
digital
and
light.
ears still listening today.
Between
The
voices
scrolls
buried
were
in
hidden
caves
for nearly
and
2,000
ears
years.
still listening
But
today.
when they emerged, they did not end
The scrolls
the
were
mystery.
hidden for nearly
They
2,000
opened
years.
it.
But when they emerged,
And maybe that is
they did
why
not
they
end the
remain one
mystery.
of the greatest
They opened it.
discoveries in biblical history.
and maybe that is why they remain
Not
one of the
because they
greatest
tell us
discoveries
everything,
in biblical history.
but because they let us
Not
hear
because
for
they
a
tell us
moment
everything.
the whisper of a world we thought was lost. A world of scribes in the desert.
A world of
A world
scribes in the
waiting for
desert.
judgment and redemption.
A world waiting for
A
judgment
world
and
that
redemption.
believed sacred words were
A world
worth
that
saving,
believed sacred words were
even
worth
if they
saving.
had to be hidden in the dark.
Even if they had to be hidden
Even
in the
if no
dark.
one returned.
Even if no one
Even if
returned.
the caves kept them silent
Even
for
if the caves
2,000
kept them
years.
silent for
The
2,000
Dead
years.
Sea Scrolls
The
survived.
Dead Sea Scrolls survived.
Because they survived.
And because they survived,
The ancient
the
world
ancient
still
world
speaks.
still speaks.